What is happening, everybody? My name is Zed, and welcome to Oxygen Not Included. Now, if you've never played Oxygen Not Included, I don't know what you're waiting for. This game is phenomenal. It has been a really long time since I played it, so we're going to start a new game. Of course, we're doing survival. For those of you that don't know, Oxygen Not Included is... yeah, we're going to stick to the easy world, because I have a habit of killing off my whole colony after I launch my rocket. So we're gonna stick with the basic world. Oxygen Not Included is a game where you colonize a comet, and it's very, very involved. It can be quite difficult. I find it to be one of the most relaxing games I've ever played. Yeah. So, this is me showcasing it for those of you that have never seen it before. Maybe you can get into it. Okay, so choose 3 duplicates. I always like having Nisbet. I don't know what it is. I think it's just her description makes me laugh. It says, okay, so, first of all, your characters are called duplicates. They're basically clones, so you will get more than one of each once your colony gets large enough. I tend to rename them all so I don't lose track of who's who's got which stats. And the first guys I usually keep with, I usually label OG. So Nisbet I almost always keep. She's narcoleptic, she falls asleep just randomly. It's funny every time. The stress reaction sucks. She's destructive. She tends to break things. But her description just makes me laugh so much that I love having her around. So it says, this Nisbet likes to punch people to show her affection. Everyone's too afraid of her to tell her it hurts. I don't know why, she just cheers me up, so I keep her. One thing you want to look for, though, is the traits. The traits do typically change. So this one, caregiver, increased medicine. That kind of sucks right off the bat, but it is handy in the long run, so we'll keep that. However, we're gonna re-roll these ones because I don't need an interior decorator yet. What's she got? Researching, that's good. Cooking's good, and suit wearing, that's an important one. The higher their athletics, the faster they tend to be. So yeah, right there. Athletics +1, plus 10% run speed. So we're gonna re-roll this guy. Digging, +7 excavation. Okay, that's what we want. Early bird, also a narcoleptic. Narcoleptic's not a big deal. Binge eater kind of sucks. Overjoyed, I don't know what that is. There has been some updates since I last played this. I think one of them was the joy thing. I think I saw that. I kind of want a builder, but you know what? Given that he's an ugly crier, yeah, we'll keep him. So, ugly crying is the best stress reaction because it really it does nothing. It doesn't hurt you any when they're stressed out and they ugly cry. The destructive ones, when they're stressed out, they'll break your stuff. The binge eaters, obviously, they'll eat your food, and that's a big deal later on. But the ugly crier is easily the best one. Let's name this colony. So what are we going to call this? We'll call it New Zeddington. Yes. Me. New Zeddington. Embark. Nothing says I love myself like naming a town after myself. Okay. I've awoken at the target location, but colonization efforts have already hit a hitch. I was supposed to land on the planet's surface, but became trapped many miles underground instead. Although the conditions are not ideal, it's imperative that I establish a colony here and begin mounting efforts to escape. Yes, so it will be a while before we break the surface, but it shouldn't be too long because I have played a lot of this game. I tend to be very obsessive about how I build my base, just because I like everything to be neat and tidy in a nice grid. I find that later on, it helps make everything far more manageable. So the first thing you typically want to do with this is you dig out a nice big area so you can start building some rooms. Now rooms, you pull up the room overlay, you'll see right now there is none, but on the side over here, it lists all the different rooms you can have. And having these rooms, most of them give you a morale bonus. That's usually what you're looking for. The hospital quarantines sick duplicants. I've never actually done that. I've built the hospital, but I've never quarantined anybody. I just use it for when these guys hurt themselves, which tends to happen. Power plant's an important one. Greenhouse is an important one. And the rest of them are all just morale bonuses. But the morale bonuses are important because the further into this game you get, the more stressed out your duplicants will start getting over nothing. Like they'll start getting pissed off. So it is important to have that going. Let me think here. It has been a while, so I'm gonna miss some stuff right off the bat, but I do know that I need an outhouse for break time. The stuff I'm building right now is temporary. It will move. It's just to keep the stress down for the first couple nights until I get things rolling. You can change the priorities on everything. I try not to do that too early on because eventually what happens is everything's set as priority 9 and nothing gets done. So I try to keep the priorities pretty low to begin with. And then I'll start tweaking things up and down as I get a more fluent system going. One thing about oxygen not included is you have to manage your gas pressures, your gas temperatures, water temperatures. It does get somewhat scientific the further in you go, and it does start getting a little more difficult later on. Once your base starts getting hot. You're okay usually. You can manage carbon dioxide, you can manage everything else, but once your base starts getting hot, that's when you start feeling the pressure, because heat is a hard thing to deal with when you're stuck underground. There's only so many places you can send heat. Later on, we're gonna play with the schedule, because I do have one guy that's an early bird, and when you've got an early bird, they gain a work bonus when they're working during morning hours. So I try and wake him up, usually right when everybody else is just wrapping up their sleep. I wake him up a block earlier, so that he gets his morning rest time right at the end of the night, and then he's working early. But I do like to wait till I have 2 or 3 early birds before I do that, because I don't like having one person working alone. Because if they do mess anything up and get themselves stuck, there's nobody to come save them for some time. Okay, I had kind of hoped that this wouldn't spill over like this when I did this, but no such luck. Still, it's not a huge deal as long as you mop it up. You don't want to let water pool anywhere. Geez, yeah, it's gonna persist, eh? You don't want to let water pool anywhere, because if their feet get wet, it increases the stress, and stress does become a real issue later on here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna dig this down, and hopefully that gets us enough room that we're not worrying about this. This water area here, this won't remain the water area. I try and keep those over here. But for right now, temporarily, until I get a little more established, we're just going to use the water where it's at here. So one of the first things you need early on is a pitcher pump. That's how your duplicants get water, which is something that they need for most of what they're doing. I don't think the base computer needs it, but yeah, this one doesn't take water, but the next computer does. So you need water by the time you get to that, as well as all the outhouse, I believe, requires water. Later on in the game, how you wire everything starts becoming an issue. You can't use cheap wire, it'll overheat, it'll overload when you've got too much draw. So you've got to start managing your draw. You'll build transformers to kind of deregulate how much power is going across certain wires, and like I said, it does start getting pretty involved, and obviously things that you have generating power also generate heat, so that becomes an issue. for right now, because I've got all this oxalite here, I'm not going to try and build a oxygen generator. It does say that you should have one right off the bat, but these oxygen diffusers are garbage. They go through way too much algae too quick. There's a much better way. So now that I've got a research station, I'm gonna start picking things to research. First one I generally like to go with is this, because you get the algae terrarium, which in my opinion is a slightly better alternative to the oxygen diffuser. Not by much. You want it to be temporary because one of the byproducts is polluted water, which puts out polluted oxygen. So you don't want to have one of these going for too long, but I do tend to start with these. So we're going to go all the way to here so I can get the farm tiles going. Once they're done researching that, then we'll jump into something else. Next thing I've got to do is start setting priorities. Now, because Nisbet is slightly better at researching than everybody else, I believe she is anyways. Researching. Science. Yeah, she's got slightly higher science, so she's going to be my researcher. I'm going to put her priority a little higher there for that. That way, these guys here, I'm going to drop theirs. I want her to be the one that does research when there's research to be done. I'd rather keep these guys doing something else because she will research a little bit quicker than they will. He is primarily going to be doing my digging. Attacking, it's very rare that attacking comes up. I don't think there's actually any hostile life forms that I've seen. So the only time you ever get these guys attacking anything is when you've got these light bugs. Let's see if I have one. Yeah, these guys up here. When you get these things in your bedrooms, they become a nuisance. They keep your duplicates awake. So that's typically the only time I attack anything. Otherwise, I try and catch everything. You can use them with in combination with solar panels. It's not really worth it. The amount of power that they generate is so minimal. I don't find it worth it. Okay, so that sound means that my first level of research is done. I'm gonna throw some storage bins down, but not right here. We're gonna get our ladder going. I've gone and built an outhouse right where I typically like to throw my ladder, so what we're gonna do is deconstruct you. The map is different every time, but I try and keep the layout of the base pretty well the same each time. So we're gonna throw the outhouses out here for now. Well, that's not good. I really wish they'd have finished that before they took their break, because now they're all gonna piss themselves. Let's put one of them on yellow alert here. Yeah, please get that built. Otherwise, we're gonna have... Yeah, exactly. You need a bathroom. Exactly. There. So you can throw things on yellow alert, and then they will still do them through their break, just to get them done. The reason I did that here is because otherwise they all need to go to the bathroom. They will all piss on the floor. And then you gotta clean it all up. It spreads disease. It's just not good. It's not good. These little things here, you can actually farm them. I believe the only reason... Oh, no, there's a couple reasons to do that. Everything they eat... Ah, see? He didn't make it. He didn't make it. Just like I knew he wouldn't. I'm gonna mop all this up. Got polluted water. We're not really equipped to deal with it yet. Farming those things, those hatches. When they eat, their excrement is coal. So that's something you want to start farming early on. Because coal is useful for, well, mostly generators. I can't remember if there's anything else you use it for. I believe there is. So the more coal you can get, the better, because right now it looks like there's a lot of resources here. You burn through them quick. Okay, we're getting the bathroom established. Let's get my next set of ladders going here. That's, like I said, typically where I put them. I keep all my rooms 4 high. And again, it's just so that no matter where I'm building, everything always lines up. It keeps everything neat and tidy, because when your base starts getting larger, it starts getting difficult to starts getting difficult to manage things if things aren't lining up. It's much easier if they're all in line and you can connect rooms and block off rooms as you see fit. So, gonna go 4 across. Get us somewhat close to that. There's enough power. Research is moving along. You always want to have something researching. Until you're done the research tree, you want to make sure that research is constantly ongoing. Next thing I'm gonna want for sure is this electrolyzer. The reason I go with the electrolyzer so early on is because it produces oxygen and hydrogen, and all that hydrogen can fuel right there. So these hydrogen generators, which I think are the best method for keeping your base power kind of looked after. You get 2 or 3 of those and you store all the gas. They're constantly running. Your base is always producing oxygen. I just find it to be the best setup. So I try and achieve that fairly early on. My oxygen is still doing okay. You want to keep it right around that 1,800 grams. As it starts getting down to like 1,200, they start having a harder time breathing. Like up here, it's breathable, but not by much. So I will need to, probably shortly here, start building some oxygen production. Choose a blueprint. So every other cycle past day 2 there, you start getting these blueprints. Then you can pick a new person to join, or you can pick some resources. I try not to get too many people too early on, but 4 or 5 is a good place to hover until you've got things established. So, let's see. Uncultured. Cannot do decorating. Farts frequently. You don't want that. They actually, they pollute your air. Like, they pump your base full of natural gas. It's not a good thing. So, Ugly Crier's strength. Perfect. Print. Okay. And now because she's new, she starts off with the skill. The rest of them have to level up before they get a skill. But she starts off with one. I mean, she's got strength, but she enjoys tidying. You don't want to max them out. If you look on the left-hand side there under their portrait, it's got the green bar and the red bar. If I give her something that she loves, she gets an extra green bar, and then she's not maxed out. It helps keep her stress down. Whereas if you've got her maxed out, she gets a little more high maintenance. So we're going to start with this for now, and then as the base decor and morale starts improving, we'll get more green bars and more room for additional stress. We'll start her with that for now. I like to give them their hat, their respective hat for their trade. It helps me keep track of who's doing what. Pretty much everything in your base should always be built out of tile. It helps, increases the decor, and they walk faster on it. So it's better to have tile pretty well everywhere, and it tidies up all this waste that just sits on the ground here, so you're not storing it all. Okay, so the time has come. We are going to get one of these going. These algae terrariums. They're important to have. They keep your oxygen going, but I try and keep them all in this, what will become kind of my center shaft here, where the ladder runs up and down. I'll have a ladder, and then I leave enough room for a fire pole later on. That gets them down quicker. And then I typically, so now I can deconstruct these guys. I typically try and leave an extra space just in case. So that's where my door will go. And that's what turns this next room into an actual room. So now, medicine. We're gonna get a sink going in here. Oh, it seems like I'm moving things unnecessarily. You only have so much space in each of your rooms. So this is how I typically try and structure my rooms. If a room is too big, it doesn't qualify as a room anymore, and then you don't get the morale bonuses. And that's the room. Gotta throw another wall and door over here, and that's as big as this room can be. Once it's done, this will turn into a... what do they call it? Because it's got no actual plumbing, a latrine. Which gives a slight morale bonus. So they're all going to sleep on the floor tonight. They will be pissy about that. But such is life. there's nothing that stops you from queuing up all this stuff ahead of time. Other than it just tends to get bogged down, and they'll start doing stuff all over the place if you try and give them too many tasks at once. But that's where priorities kind of come into. If you start prioritizing things a little more closely, then it doesn't really become an issue. Dig all you out to there. All that out to there. That to there. Give you some space. Okay, so we need more research now. We're doing pretty good here time-wise. I like to get these gas pumps going fairly early on, but they're kind of useless without proper power generation. So we're gonna get this thing going. That gives us the advanced research and the supercomputer with which to do it. And yeah, we'll let that happen first. So once this is built, you'll see that this becomes, we'll up the priority on these guys here. You'll see that this becomes a room. So room overlay, there's nothing going on here, nothing going on here. Boom, suddenly it's a latrine. So you get a morale bonus, which helps. You want to keep that morale as high as you can. Keep everybody as happy as you can. Because again, stress is harmful. Okay, duplicate skills. Nisbet. So we're going to give her the advanced research perk. Obviously, you see the heart there. It means that she enjoys research, so she does not gain any additional stress from doing so. Looking at our food count, we still have lots of available food, so that's good. We've now also got this plant here. We're going to throw that on the harvest list. Both these guys on the harvest list. Those will continue to grow, and then we can get a farm going. Once we've got the farm going, we can eliminate this whole area. This can become part of the base. Until then, I like to keep those handy. Yeah, I like to keep them handy just so that we've got some source of food. This room will become a barracks once these guys are done building. I think the barracks still has the same maximum. Yeah, 64 tiles. So this room is now a barracks. Again, you get another little morale boost from it. But I am about to run out of time for this video. So, not a lot of exciting stuff happened this round. All we really did was build up the basics. In the next video, we'll try and get a little more involved here, get some more stuff rolling. But now you've seen kind of what it's about, and I hope that you look forward to the next one. So, thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Throw me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. I know this isn't the kind of game I usually play. I don't know if most of you guys are here for the horror games or what kind of games you're into, but I do really enjoy this game. If you guys would like to see more of it, let me know down below. And until next time, bye for now.